Games, Brains, and a Head-Banging Life here with an introduction video for a series we're going to be running over on the YouTube channel called The Nasties. This is where we look at all 72 films that were prosecuted under the Video Nasty or Obscene Publications Act 1959 in the UK. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know, we're going to do a little bit of an introduction about what a Video Nasty is. Mm-hmm. It's actually a term from the UK used to describe a selection of films.
Yeah.
A very small selection of films, actually, considering that were criticised for the violent content by either the press. Daily Mail was a massive one of this.
Yeah, of course,
social commentators like Mary Whitehouse and religious organisations and so on. It became very, very popular to become a term in a sense, almost like a badge of honour by these days, Video Nasty.
Oh, yeah.
The idea of these video releases, they were never brought before the BBFC, which was the classification system in the UK, what gave us 12, 15 and 18 or so on. I don't know what rating would we got that would be classed. R for America is 18.
I thought it was 17 plus R in America.
Interesting. But anyway, due to a loophole in the film classification laws, it allowed these videos to bypass the review process. They were being released uncut with no classification, which is itself a problem. It's something I do understand. That is a problem, particularly when you see some of them.
Yeah.
So because of this, a load of really and a huge amount of films flooded the market with extreme adult content. Yeah. Extreme adult content, not for children. And because they weren't regulated, because they weren't classified, children could purchase them, rent them, and so on. So there was always going to be a problem. You know, it does all make sense. So there was a bit of a campaign, which is often attributed and seen as led by the woman Mary Whitehouse and the NVALA. And basically the decision was to stop prosecuting these films for obscenity under this act. They released a list of 72 films the office believed to violate the Obscene Publication Act 1959, which was what they were using to prosecute these movies. But it also included another list of 82 titles, which they felt may not actually achieve prosecution, like it either wasn't extreme enough or hardcore enough, wasn't the main target, but were going to be submitted as well, but also under the lesser Section 3 obscenity charge. The list actually included films that had been acquitted of obscenity in certain jurisdictions or that also had already been given certification by the BBFC. Right. So see the problem in itself with this campaign. Double standards. There's a massive amount of double standards, which really confusing. And there was constant revisions to the list and confusion regarding what constituted obscene material, because nothing had ever been done like this before. So kind of that led to a problem in itself. So an act was passed in 1984 in Parliament, the Video Recordings Act 1984, which forced all video releases to appear before the BBFC for certification, which is what we've been existed under for ever. Yeah. And that's fine. Yeah. I don't think anyone really has a problem with that. No. Do I agree with the rating system? Absolutely. It's flawed as hell nowadays. Yeah. And it could, it's weird because a film can get given a rating by today's standards for having sexuality. You can turn on MTV and see a music video that's got just as much, if not more, and that's fine, So it's not a flawless system. But do I think a movie like The Human Centipede should be available to a 12-year-old? No, of course I don't. That's why we have the rating systems. It works. Yeah. It added a stricter code of censorship, basically. That in itself is where I kind of draw the line. I don't think the BBFC should be censoring shit. I think everything should be, to a degree, depending upon what material's in it, be available to view based on the ages, based off that system. However, some cuts make sense, particularly by today's standards. Yeah. And when I think of one, I always think of Cannibal Holocaust, which I'm not sure if you can get this 100% uncut, or if it's missing 2 or 3 seconds. And then obviously this is more famous for its animal cruelty and those sort of things and so on. But we're going to quickly give you a rundown of the films that were prosecuted. So there were 72. Yeah. So we're just going to go through them all. We will be covering each film individually in episodic form. No order, just what ones we can get hold of and what ones we can... we will get hold of all of them, just as we get hold of them and as we do them. Yeah. So the 72 are Absurd, Anthropogophorus, The Beast, Axe, A Bay of Blood, The Beast in Heat, Blood Feast, Blood Rites, Bloody Moon, The Burning, Cannibal Apocalypse, one I'm very familiar with, Cannibal Ferox, or Pharaoh, Cannibal Holocaust, The Cannibal Man,
There's a theme.
Devil Hunter, Don't Go Into the Woods, Don't Go in the Woods, The Driller Killer, Evil Speak, Expose, Faces of Death, Fight for Your Life, Flesh for Frankenstein, Forest of Fear, Gestapo's Last Orgy, The House by the Cemetery, The House on the Edge of the Park, I Spit on Your Grave, Island of Death, The Last House on the Left, Love Camp 7, Madhouse, Mardi Gras Massacre, Nightmares in a Damaged Brain, Night of the Bloody Apes, Night of the Demon, Snuff, SS Experiment Camp, Tenebrae, The Werewolf and the Yeti, and Zombie Flesh Eaters. Now those were the 39 of the 72 lists that were prosecuted. Then we get to the ones that were non-prosecuted, 33 of them. So that does 72. Okay. The Beyond, The Bogeyman, Cannibal Terror, Contamination, Dead and Buried, Death Trap, Deep River Savages, Delirium, Don't Go in the House, Don't Go near the park, Don't Look in the Basement, The Evil Dead, Frozen Scream, The Funhouse, Human Experiments, I Miss You, Hugs and Kisses, Inferno, Killer Nun, Late Night Trains, The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, Nightmare Maker, Possession, Pranks, Prisoner of the Cannibal God, Revenge of the Bogeyman, The Slayer, Terror Eyes, The Toolbox Murders, Unhinged, Visiting Hours, The Witch Who Came from the Sea, and Zombie Creeping Flesh. So that's the 72 films.
Yeah.
Over half of them were successfly prosecuted, and over half weren't, even though they were submitted, but they all got basically cut and then re-released with cuts. And eventually most of these happily are available uncut by these days' standards. However, this is where we reach the biggest problem we're going to come into. Finding them. There are a lot that have still were never re-sent to the BBFC, so have been officially unreleased in the UK. We'll get a lot of import copies. In some cases, it might be just a matter of watching them online if we cannot get the physical. The idea is to get the physical copies, to have them, and eventually have all 72 films, and then probably do them in a competition of some kind at the very end of this series. So stay tuned for that. So as we said, we'll be doing this in episodic form. Episode 1 all the way to 72 to complete the entire Video Nasty. Then, if we feel like it, we may move on to the other section, the other set of films that where they already received certification, but were going to be resubmitted and tried on the different acts. It's a great stories about the Video Nasty. I've tried to kind of just brush over it based off just some basic internet stuff and what I remember myself. Read up about it if you want to know more. It's an incredible story of a hysterical time. The front page, it's that whole "won't somebody think of the children" joke from The Simpsons. However, you can't argue they had some merit. It's just where that went and how the action went. And it's funny to sort of see, as we sit here in 2020, how things have changed. There you go. Look out for episode number 1. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see all these videos. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?